What's up, everybody? I am back with a new holiday movie review. Today, it's not even a Christmas one. It's more of like a Hanukkah movie in a way. I think technically would be my second Hanukkah film that I reviewed on this channel. One being more of like a Hallmark Christmas movie I did a year ago. This one is more so well known. Adam Sandler's Eight Crazy Nights. Now, before I continue, please leave a like, comment below if you enjoyed this channel. Please do so for more future content. Anywho, this wasn't, I don't even think it even. I'm pretty sure there's fans, but in general, people don't look very fondly on Adam Sandler's Eight Crazy Nights. Basically, it's like a setup. It's trying to set up some type of. It's like Scrooge, but for Hanukkah. And matter of fact, perfect time of reviewing this film. This is like the week of Hanukkah currently at the time of this recording. So those out there who are watching that are from a Jewish background, happy Hanukkah. We have an amazing week. So yeah, I love Adam Sandler. I enjoy most of his films, but this right here was like in the era when Adam Sandler's films were taking a bit of a dip. There were a few gems here and there, but it wasn't until like what's that movie where he plays that gambling addict jeweler. I forgot what that movie is called. I didn't see it, but I know about it. But that was such a big hit. It gave him like a bit of a renaissance after that point, because Adam Sandler had a bit of a shtick that he, for the most part, has been like kind of sticking to, and most of his fans kind of grew up out of that. I mean, it's not saying that we still can't get any chuckles here and there, but in terms of critics' responses, it's kind of like his comedic style didn't grow up with him. I think now he's have a bit of a stride here, and past Uncut Gems. That was the film. Since Uncut Gems, he have a bit of a stride now. But as a kid, I actually really. I mean, I still kind of like Adam Sandler's Eight Crazy Nights, but I cannot pretend that there was some issues with this. The animation looks great. It's kind of similar to The Iron Giant. I think possibly the same animators worked on The Iron Giant. That's why it looks so similar. But basically, we got Adam Sandler playing the character Davy Stone, who's pretty much kind of like the Jewish Scrooge in this. They don't play it like, if this was like a Hanukkah Carol, like the Christmas Carol, but for Hanukkah, they could have gone that way. But there is some elements here I thought worked well, and I'll let you know the kind of stuff that didn't really work for me at all. Is mostly some of the comedy. But anyway, it's directed by Seth Kearsley. Adam Sandler was co-writer, and like I said, stars for most of the voices here. He plays Davy Stone. He also portrays his younger self. Oh no, Josh Uller plays his younger self. He also plays Whitey and Eleanor Duvall. His wife Jackie Tatone, who is in pretty much all of his films as love interest or just like kind of like the neighborhood woman, friend, whatever. He always puts his family on a lot of his stuff, which is like a very honorable thing. It's like, he's definitely like a family guy. Uh, Austin Stout plays Benjamin Friedman. Uh, Jackie Tatum plays Jennifer Friedman. Rob Schneider plays the narrator, and Mr. Chang, the owner of the local Chinese restaurant, because we were still in an era where, like, you know, doing voices that is kind of stereotypical, but to a degree, it's funny. It wasn't until the whole situation, like sometime around Apu, the actor who voiced Apu in The Simpsons, started doing it because it wasn't culturally sensitive for a non-Indian person to voice an Indian person and making it sound stereotypical. And it's like, oh God, it was part of, fun. Uh, Kevin Neal, uh, uh, Kevin Nealon plays Mayor Dewey. Carmen Philippi as the homeless man. Norm Crosby as judge. John Lovitz as Tom Baltzer. And there's some additional voices here, represented in like logos who provided voices. Tyra Banks as the Victoria's Secret gown. Blake Clark as Radio Shack walkie-talkie. Peter Dante as Foot Locker referee. Ellen Albertini Dow as C's Candies box. Kevin Farley as Panda Express Giant Panda. Laurie Friedman as the coffee bean and tea leaf cup. Tom Kenny as the Shepherd Image chair. Dylan and Cole Sprouse plays the KGB KB toy soldiers. Carl Weathers as GNC bottle. Jamie Allcroft as Ellie Walston. So we begin the film in this town in New Hampshire called Dukesbury, where the local the local delinquent Davy Stone, often causes like just petty crimes and it kind of annoys everybody. Apparently, he's been doing it for years. Don't know why it took this long to actually put him in like some serious trouble, because it didn't rise to that degree until the first night of Hanukkah, where he didn't pay for his Chinese food order. He, was running away from the cops, causing, havoc, destruction, and just, messing with people along the way. Pretty much assault, too. So, piling up on the crimes. So, nobody likes him. But before the judge about to throw the book at him, because he throws in that little commentary, "You used to be such a sweet kid. It's a shame that you turn out this way." We'll get to his backstory in a minute. But then all of a sudden, this weird voice comes out of nowhere, coming from Whitey, who's took it upon himself to put David in a what do you call those community service program by having David work for Whitey at the youth basketball program as the assistant referee. Now, here's most of my issue. I think is most of everybody's issue is Adam's voices. Now, he's no stranger of doing quirky voices in his previous films like Billy Madison and like Mr. Deeds, etc. But at a certain point, it does get grating on the ears. However, I kind of wish it could just stuck it, with just Whitey by itself, because most of this town uh, is weird, but they also can be borderline just effed up in their own right, and they kind of portray like them they're upstanding citizens while Davy is the delinquent, which he technically is, but none of y'all are shit. So it's like, what are you doing? But uh, I, in terms of the goofiness, well, I won't say lay all the goofiness on one singular character. That's how you get something like Olaf. But it's just the voice. At times it can be really funny. Other times it's just like, I don't know, it's very over the top. It's like taking a joke a bridge too far. It's like, joke like Whitey, like one man's 11 size, this boy's 7 size at your service. Yeah, here comes the shit. It's like, as a kid, I cracked myself up because as stupid as it was like, what am I looking at? It's like I said, there's times it is kind of dumb. I'm guilty of laughing at the most ridiculous childish things, but but I can understand people's point of view that voice can get kind of tiring. I didn't know he voiced Eleanor, his twin sister. They're all kind of deformed, short people, and Whitey's a bit of an eccentric, but he's an eccentric with a very good heart, where he spent most of his time helping out the neighborhood because he's just a good person. He volunteers, for the most part, and other times he does odd jobs around the town. So he's pretty well known, but he's like treated like an afterthought by most people. For the most part, why he just kind of let that roll off his hairy back. So he steps in to help out Davy, but he's he's just such an ass that when a fat kid is trying to play basketball, Davey kind of like just talks mad shit. To be fair, it is funny. There's a couple of fat jokes in here that, I'm sorry, it's freaking funny. You gotta learn to laugh at certain of the ridiculousness that might on the surface look kind of effed up, but it's just the hilariousness. Matter of fact, Adam Sandler voiced that older fat guy, and it's like, why are you eating that? Yeah. Just the fat noises. It's just you can just. I mean, it's a testament to his skills as an actor, where he can just make a fat guy sound. It's just like, I don't know. It's like he's hefty a bit. Like, it almost sounds like Muscle Man from regular show. You listen to Muscle Man, he sounds chunky, despite the name. It's just like, I don't know. He like, I'm losing muscle mass. It's just like, oh my god, it's just so freaking funny. God, I love regular show. It's so darn funny. But anyway, it's just like, he told the kids, like, you're gonna come in my car, you better wear a bra. It made the kid cry, and then a couple of scenes later, you see him like, sneaking into a woman's dressing room, trying on a bra, and one of the ladies catches him like, "Aren't you a boy?" It's like, golly. I'm sorry. It's stupid. It's like, oh my god, it's so doggone stupid. It's just like the imagery of it all. It's probably adds to the hilarity. I'm sorry. I know it's not everybody's favorite film, but golly, there's some moments that just get a laugh out of me just for the absurdity of it. Uh, and just kind of like callousness of certain things. It's like because like no normal person would like actually like well I won't say no normal person. I'm pretty sure we all well not to their face unless the person being an a hole, but we wouldn't make fun of a fat kid to their face. We would have the decency to wait till the kids out of our general earshot and then tease there like decent people would. Uh, but anyway, uh, we see Jennifer, and it turns out she has a young son named Benjamin that she's looking after because her husband left her for like another woman, so she moved back in town to raise her son. And of course, this brings up old feelings for the both of them because they were childhood sweethearts until tragedy happened. So they end up drifting apart. But he started bonding a bit with Benjamin, challenging some punks at the uh, on the basketball court, talking mad shit. And then Benjamin and Davey schooled them, and with words of encouragement, you know, Davey ended up teaching Benjamin how to talk, you know, crap, which he he, uh, he ended up saying a curse word right as his mom showing up. She didn't like that too much, obviously. Um, but on his way home, the guy who Davey and Benjamin beat at basketball burns down his home. Davey runs inside to rescue this old Hanukkah card that hasn't been opened that was given to him by his late parents. So Whitey invites him over to him and Eleanor's house, telling him about the ground rules, and which, by the way, I gotta make a point about this that I, you know, don't care for. The excessive musicals. And it's not like there aren't good. There's probably a couple that I actually do like, but it's just excessive. Like, I don't know. Every well, it's not as egregious as something like Hotel Transylvania, where it's practically like a gay Broadway show, where it's singing every 5 minutes. Uh, but it's just like I don't know. Even with Disney movies, they kind of dialed down the sing-alongs. It's like Mulan have like what? I'm pretty sure it has like a extensive soundtrack, but in terms of like the film, I think it's like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's like 3 songs out of the entire film, and then 4 technically if, you count the one that's running in the credits. And I think it's kind of something similar to uh, the Lion King. It's kind of like okay, there's like a lengthy gap between one song and then the next, and it's just like I don't know. I don't care for excessive sing-alongs because it kind of takes me out of the main story that I'm trying to focus on. That's probably one of my biggest issue personally. Um, so during this time with Whitey and Eleanor, Davey's starting to turn around a bit. He uh, learns about Whitey's dream of getting this award, this for the 35th annual celebration of the town, and it's like a person who's the most remarkable person, or like the most charitable or whatever of the town, and they get this honorary patch. And Whitey is always coveted one, not in a negative coveted way, but just he always wanted one It's just because he doesn't ask for much, but that's the main thing he always like really sought after because it's like an achievement that he's always sought after. And for the past few years, he's always been passed up. That's I want to say that's the not even a partial reason why he just does what he does around the city or town, but it's just some level of recognition because the way he grew up, he always kind of looked over or mocked, which he's human. He does the grown up thing and kind of let it, you know, let it slide, pass it by. Don't for the most, it doesn't let it get him, but to some degree, it does get to him. And but it just, despite all that, it seems like showing this shows that he's acknowledged and he's not some kind of failure or whatever. This is more like a symbolic thing than just a simple award. It's just showing that you know uh, some level of hope in humanity for Whitey. Not to lay it too heavy on that, but it means a great deal to him. Uh, but for the most part, he does what he does because he's got a good heart. Uh, but Davey recognized that. He even put in like his time with them. He started to come around a little bit, and he even voted for Whitey to get the pass because this is all up to a vote. But as Eleanor asked about Davey's past, we learned that when Jennifer and Davey was young kids, it's like in their preteens, because Davey is very good at playing basketball. He's always been like a basketball guy. Which, by the way, people have to point out this in a lot of Adam Sandler's films. He always trying to come across like he is fitter than he actually is. Not trying to throw shade at the guy. He got a dad bod. He always had a dad bod. For at least, sometime, after, the Wedding Singer and like Billy Madison. So, sometimes like in like the getting close to the mid 2000s, we see the dad bod starts to grow in a bit. Um, uh, but he always portrayed like he's super athletic than he realistically is. No, I'm not saying like he isn't like active. He likes playing basketball in real life. I mean, you can look it up. He's always been himself, which I gotta admire about Adam Sandler. He's always been himself. When he goes to certain red carpet events, he's very rarely in an actual suit, dressed for the occasions. 99% of the time, he just dressed, just like him. He's in shorts and a hoodie or whatnot. It's like, I gotta respect that because that's how like my mindset works. It's like, I don't want to do all this song and dance stuff. I gotta go to this stuff. I just want to dress like I want to dress. It's like, but he earned that right. He kind of more than proved himself in the terms of in the world of acting. He paid his dues to earn that right. It's kind of like with something similar to Jack Nicholson. He kind of paid his dues to do whatever the heck he wants. He's pretty much retired anyway. He's been retired for years, but he just like goes to like Laker games half the time. Matter of fact, I don't think he has shown up to a Laker game since the whole lockdown and pandemic was over. I think he should have maybe like in some handful of times during 2021, I think. But I don't remember him going since then. Let me look this up. I could be wrong. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but Looks like the last public sighting was in 2023, so a couple of years ago. So not too long ago. But I guess he's gotten, he's getting up there in years. So I doubt he's like can actively go like that, as he used to. But anyway, uh, we learned that when they was kids, thanks to Debbie, they won their youth basketball championship. But it was during Hanukkah, and his parents was making their way to the game, but got into a car accident and died, which shattered him, which resulted in Davy turning into a delinquent in and out of foster homes. Uh, uh, Now, I get the sob story, but I'm thinking to myself, what were they doing where they just like could not get there much earlier? Because it was like icy roads and some thing going on because it was in the middle of winter. But how did a kid get there so early? And maybe they have to work or something. I don't know. But you'd think it's something that's important. You get like some time off and you already getting your kid there early to show up. You probably would have been there with everybody else. I don't know. It's just something like, it's weird. But it's generated like a sad story here. So we learn why David the way he was. So he kind of snapped because I guess he didn't want his personal business being put out there because it triggered some raw emotions that he still has not dealt with. He pretty much used booze to kind of mask it through all this time. Uh, so he uh, assaulted and teased Whitey and Eleanor. They told him like don't show back up to their house anymore. So he went on like a binge drink. And later on that night, Whitey and Eleanor show up at the banquet. Uh, Whitey didn't get the 35th annual patch. It was given to this man named Tom with a hook for a hand. And this, of course, devastates Whitey because he figures like, oh my god, this is like the fourth time. And all the stuff that I done for this town, and like I pretty much like if you look at it, because you see through a series of flashbacks, Whitey's been like darn near like the backbone of the entire town. He pretty much partially, if not single-handedly, kept this thing running. He might as well should have ran for mayor as much as he cared for this doggone town without any much of a thank you or acknowledgement. Uh, so this kind of rocked his world. It's like, oh, they really don't see him. They don't care. Pretty much like a stepping stone. It devastates him. He ends up, walking away. Meanwhile, Dave got drunk, snuck inside the mall, and he hallucinates all the logos and mascots coming alive, forcing him to grieve, because that's why he's acting the way he is, because he could not, as a kid, acknowledge that he needs to feel what he's feeling. Now, I'm not a proponent or an advocate for a grown man, crying in general, unless he's with trusted male cohorts or he's like technically by himself. That's another thing. But in front of like women, especially a significant other, I think that's not a good idea. However, technically he's by himself, but uh, they force him to open up his Hanukkah card. He's never opened, and this just seems like a weird coincidence just to tie into this little moment because that's how it feels. Basically, the letter saying like, "Oh, no matter what, don't change who you are." And I'm thinking to myself, that's very. Part of me feels like that's very hyper specific. Because why would you tell? Because he was intending to give this to him when he was 12 years old. Why would you need to tell a 12-year-old something like this? Like, don't change who you are, kind of thing. You have something a little bit more profound to say. But uh, I guess in a way, this is like the only way to get through to Dave is his parents. Is pretty much his parents is like the focal point, and they're probably the only ones that can probably reach that young kid inside that is still hurting. They, and you finally, learn to process this. He ends up running back to the gala where he tells everybody that you guys are dumb for not acknowledging Whitey for all the stuff that he's done for this town. And he goes through a series of flashbacks where he did not even thank him for bailing him out from keeping him from out of jail. There's this older woman who went to high school with Whitey, and she points out that because she probably was kind of like a prick of a kid back then, but never kind of, when she grew up, kind of like, resolved that a bit. But she pretended like she wanted to go to the prom with him. But then when he got there, she's, dancing with some other dude. And it's like, I can't believe he actually thought I was serious. And he went on and danced with his mom. And I was like, golly, that's just evil. But like I said, she's a teenager. Kids tend to do effed up stuff because they, don't process their emotions or think rationally at a certain point. But then there's one guy who was having like a football party, watching the game with his boys, but they was having like a trouble with the TV signal, and Whitey, during the rainstorm, comes over and stand on top of the TV with a coat hanger to get like a good signal, and he's struck by lightning, and he points out, the guy who tells the story points out the fact that we just ignored the burning smell, and it's like, oh my god, we should all rot in hell. So it's just like I love this because it's kind of like it's kind of things that we all could think about, like all the acknowledge certain people's good deeds they did for us, no matter how small, and show at least bare minimum of an appreciation. Even something as simple as open up the door, it's like, hey, thank you. It's not the words that is what they want to hear. Is just the acknowledgement backing it up. Like, I'm not doing this, as like your personal assistant. Like, I'm just being courteous as a fellow human being walking on this earth that's, until our end comes when we get older. We can't just be treating each other like passerbys on our way to the grave. So Dave goes to the mall knowing that Whitey would be there because he treated like a sanctuary pretty much. And Dave and the rest of the town show up to right a wrong that they all done to Whitey, and not only gave him the 35th annual patch, knowing he more than anybody deserves this, but everybody else who earned previous awards all through their patch to Whitey as like, you you have more than earned this for years that you have been overlooked at. Even though all these other people probably done good things, does not compare to how much Whitey just gives of himself almost every day. Uh, so he ends up having a seizure out of sheer joy, and then Dave and Jennifer ends up getting closer together. And that was Adam Sandler's Eight Crazy Nights. Uh, oh God, I forgot about the whole deal with the shit covered teeth because they uh, during one of Davy's escapades, just to mess with Whitey, he shoves him in a porta potty and puts it down the hill where he's in a covered in shit, and he uh, get a water hose and turn it on him, freezing him rock solid, turn into a shitsicle, and have a bunch of deer show up and lick him clean. So got shit covered deer, and that's another thing is what is it's the poop jokes that really gets on people's nerves sometimes. Because if you don't do it right, it just seems hacky. Because there's a way to do like a fart joke or getting hit in the nuts to make it seem like you're just doing it because just for the sheer fact that, oh, why you're getting kicked in the nuts. You know, what are the circumstances in the context of you getting kicked in the nuts? You just kicking somebody in the nuts is just a dick move. That I mean, you know, that is, but for me personally, that is like an issue with certain lowbrow comedy like that. And that's what most people's issue with some Adam Sandler's film. Some of them come across as very lowbrow comedy that we all think Adam Sandler is more than above it all. He's above some of those kind of jokes. Not saying he can't do those jokes, but he's so skilled he can make those things funny. Because even someone like Eddie Murphy, he been through a situation where like he had bad films in his filmography too, that he had to rise above because he kept doing the same shtick that got very tired. Because we know your skill and you're better than this. But yeah, I mean, I think when this was first like, you know, promoted, you would think it would come across more so as like the Hanukkah version of the Christmas Carol, because Davy is pretty much like a Grinch, and not Grinch, but like a Grinch, but he's more so like a Scrooge-like character. But I don't know, him getting visited by three ghosts of Hanukkah or something like that probably would have served this movie a little bit better, because it didn't do so well at the box office. But there is some level of a following to this. Like I said, there's still moments in here that I did crack up with. But, you know, it's not terrible. I mean, at least to me. I'm not going to ignore the fact that there is some issues. But it's so low for me that it's not like a big bother. But in any case, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of Eight Crazy Nights. Where does it rank for you in terms of like, you know, is it like D or F, or is it C or B, or I doubt anybody considers an A movie. There's no way an A movie. So somewhere between like, you know, B to F, where does it fall in line for you guys? Because for me, it's a C, maybe C plus. It's very average. It's not, you know, like the worst thing I've ever seen. But in any case, I will see you guys in a little bit. I got another animated film that I want, more so a special, but I want to talk about. So I will see you guys in a minute. Peace. Oh, and happy Hanukkah once again to all the Jewish watchers out there. Peace.